Hello and welcome to Arlington's Patriots Day celebration 2019. We're along the parade route here at Town Hall along Mass Ave. I'm Brenda Mahoney from ACMi, Arlington Community Media News, joined by...
I'm Jack Hurd, happy to join Brenda again. They asked me back, I'm not sure why, but here I am.
Well, you know a lot about the town. You served as select board member for years, now your son does, and so it's good to have your insight because there's a lot of community organizations that take part in Arlington Patriots Day, and that's why we're here to celebrate the patriotism in Arlington that existed. The theme for this year is, I believe, it's honoring the tradition and celebrating our future. So that's where we're at. And to talk a little bit about Arlington Patriots Day, to remind folks, or perhaps inform them if they're new to town or new to this area, that we were once Menotomy, and along this very road, the British were retreating from the battles of Lexington and Concord, and they were met by colonists and Minutemen here in Arlington, what was then Menotomy, and we put up a good fight. Our side put up a good fight, which later led to us having our independence and becoming America.
Right. And back in the day, there was the bloodiest battle of the Revolution was here in Arlington. In fact, it was just reenacted, I think, about an hour ago.
It was.
So we're very proud of that heritage, and we sometimes feel like we should have got more credit than we have, but there's actually a poem about that. But here we are, and Patriots Day is sort of our signature day in town when, we always have a great parade and everybody comes out. And
we've got nice weather for it this year as well here.
That's great. Unlike tomorrow.
So we've done a little story on the history of Arlington Patriots Day Parade. I think we have that queued up, ready to show. Okay, well, and we're going to show it to you in just a moment. Here we go.
Patriots Day traces its origins back to 1894, replacing an early Massachusetts holiday called Fasting Day. Days to mark the Sabbath and adhere to strict religious rules. But early celebrations began taking over as we marked the bravery of the colonists' eventual defeat over King George III. Fun activities included baseball games and competitive matchups. Fast forward to 1925, the sesquicentennial of Paul Revere's ride. The concept eventually changed to celebrating our Revolutionary War history, but the big celebrations were in Lexington, Concord, with more modest celebrating in Arlington. That would change in 1930 when Arlington held a massive celebration, not only celebrating Paul Revere's famous ride, but also the 300th anniversary of the establishment of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. The parade that year began at Academy Street to Pleasant Street and into the old burying ground. It lasted about 15 minutes. In 1950, the 175th anniversary of April 19, 1775 shot heard round the world, a massive parade was held in Arlington. 25 years later, in 1975, just before our bicentennial, Arlington's parade was considered by many to be among the largest of all parades nationwide. What is known is that parade, held on Monday, April 21st, was estimated to have attracted 200,000 people who lined Mass Ave to cheer on the red, white, and blue. Back then, there were 15,000 marchers and more than 200 bands. That parade lasted 3 hours. As the years progressed, less people began attending the parade for many reasons, one of which is that fewer businesses gave employees a paid day off. And of course, the Boston Marathon began claiming the top spot of celebratory events in this all-too-American New England holiday. But times have changed. Now the parade is held on a Sunday, so it doesn't compete with Marathon Monday. In colonial times, it would have been unimaginable to hold a parade on the Lord's Day. But today, in the 21st century, it is a chance now to come together as one people, united, to celebrate the sacrifices that those patriots, known and unknown, made so long ago. The Arlington Parade now gives us a chance to live our lives in freedom with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
was a nice retrospective there that, you know, Arlington has been celebrating Patriots Day for quite a long time. And it's also a very patriotic place because we also named ourselves Arlington in honor of those who served
Right.
and the Civil War as well. So patriotism running strong here throughout.
That's true. And I think 6 or 7 years ago, my good friend who passed away, Brian Greeley, had come up with the idea of moving it to Sunday.
Yes.
It was always on a Monday, which was traditional, but I think it was felt that there many more people could come and participate on the Sunday. So it's been successful. We've had some issues with weather, but I think it's worked out really well.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of working with Brian before he passed away on the Arlington Patriots Day Parade Committee. It was an all-volunteer committee at that point, led by Brian. And now, today, how it's brought to you is with the help of the town, as well as other community organizations, and lots of people kind of help out with putting together the Arlington and Patriots Day Parade. And making sure that we get this on. The parade volunteers include Bob Bose, Christine Bongiorno from the Health and Human Services Department, Captain James Curran of the police, Jeff Chunglo from Veteran Services, and lots of people from Town Hall, Joe Marshall as well, who I used to work with as well and work with Brian Greeley on the Patriots Day Parade Committee, Laura Muncy, Angela Alzlowski from the ATED, Arlington
Yep.
Tourism and Economic Development. So lots of people really helping out to put this together. And also what we had earlier today, which has been great that they started up it again, the Menotomy Minutemen.
Right,
So
right.
Arlington was called Menotomy, and the battle was at the Jason Russell House. Today they reenacted that with the British. Still losing 11 folks. That doesn't change,
Right.
unfortunately. But we do have a snippet of what happened earlier today that we can show you of that reenactment. Okay, it's only about a minute. So the Menotomy Minutemen, they actually weren't part of that battle because they were still in Lexington and Concord. We're
Right,
talking
right.
about walking here. So it was the same day, we're early in the morning, the shots first fired and on the Lexington Green, and the British were there. And so they're retreating back, and Lord Percy said, okay, ransack all of the houses on the way back. And by the time they were coming through, colonists from all these other towns, that's why we have Danvers in this parade here, and Acton and others, because they came here. They knew from Paul Revere the night before and they knew this was the route back.
Right.
So figured, hey, we'll get them on the route back, but didn't really go as well as they were hoping for.
No.
And, even I was talking to some of the Menotomy Minutemen, and they went into Jason Russell House, which we thankfully still have today, and right in that spot where the battle took place. And they ran for cover to hide, and the British didn't even allow them to surrender, so the story goes.
Right.
Because they were wet, cold, tired, angry, and So they bayoneted them, and that's why it's called the bloodiest battle. Not
Right.
just the deadliest, but actually the bloodiest.
Right. Is if you visit the Jason Russell House, they've kept it well preserved. You can still see the bullet holes from that battle, and which is really neat for the kids to see that.
Right. Right.
But they do a great job of reenacting. I know in Lexington, I believe they still do it the actual time. I think it's like 5 a.m.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and they do the same. So they're, but it's really quite an event to see for the kids.
It is. And so what we'll be having coming up is the parade is kicking off way down, some other end near Brattle Square.
Right.
And we're in front of Town Hall, so we're around about the halfway point. So the parade will be starting up momentarily. We'll have a national anthem. And Joe Caro, of the Arlington Select Board, will also hold a special moment of silence for Brian Greeley's brother, who we were talking about, Kevin Greeley. He was part of the Select Board for 30 some odd years.
30 years, yes. Yep.
And passed away suddenly in November this past fall. So we will have a moment of silence for him.
That's wonderful. I had the honor of serving with Kevin for 14 years on the board, and quite an institution, and his impact on the town will be felt for many, many years, and he's missed dearly.
And Jack, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but all through the years, there's been lots of families of generations that have served, and the Greeleys, along with the Hurds,
Right,
is one of the
right.
more recent ones.
That's true. That's true. My uncle served on the board in the 50s, and then I was on for 14 years, and now my son is on the board. So it's some people call it a defective gene, jokingly, but we're certainly honored to have served in the town in many capacities, and so maybe my fourth generation grandson might be interested. Maybe not, but yeah, we're honored to have served.
It's really something special to have there, and a lot of other towns throughout Massachusetts and even beyond have where that just that service just comes and is just passed down.
Right. Yeah. It's a way of life.
And we also have a nice clip that we've talked to some folks about what Arlington, what the Patriots Day Parade means to them.
Right.
There's clowns, there's bands, there's all of that, but what they're celebrating, why they're celebrating, and why we do that still here in Arlington, what that means to them. So
Sure.
let's take a listen.
Excellent.
Well, I think it's actually pretty cool to be in Arlington because most people don't know that there's as much history here as there is in Lexington and Concord. And so I think it's important that we're trying to do more about Patriots Day here.
I think it's great, and I have 4 children, so we've tried to teach them some of the history. So we have enjoyed the Patriots Day Parade for nearly probably 15 years. So we're excited that it's still a tradition that's happening. And we like going to the Jason Russell House the day to see the reenactment, which I think is really important for the kids to remember. And it's part of our history in our town. We're pretty lucky to be this close. So it's a lot to learn and remember. I think it's important to remember.
We had to fight a war of independence to be free of England. So I think that people should know that freedom's not easily won. It's not just given to you. You have to fight for it, work for it.
I just think it's really good to know this history because the people who participated weren't generals or lieutenants. They were just regular people who worked every day in Arlington. They were farmers and shoemakers and regular folks, and so are we. So that tells me that everyone can participate in our democracy, and that's very important.
So that's really great to hear that people are coming out. Here we are today, Arlington Patriots Day Parade, coming to you live from in front of Town Hall, and we've got nice weather this year, so
Yes.
that really makes a difference. And I'm sorry to say, but for the Marathon Monday and the Patriots and other Patriots Day activities tomorrow, on the actual Patriots Day Parade, not going to be as nice. In fact, the reenactment, the Paul Revere ride, will not be coming through tomorrow, will not be coming through Mass Ave because of the weather and the horses.
Right,
You
right.
don't want to risk that.
Yeah.
So we won't be having that tomorrow. So this is the day, if you still can, come on down. The parade just getting started. Hasn't come through here in our camera views yet, but when they do, we'll get going there. But we want to take a time to also thank the sponsors for making this parade happen. So, Jack, who do we have this year?
Well, our diamond sponsors are the Muncie Screw Machine Product Inc., which is celebrating their 50th anniversary in business in 2019. This year's diamond sponsorship is in loving memory of their founder, Joseph F. Muncie, who served in the U.S. Air Force from 1956 to 1960.
Excellent. We also have platinum sponsors, Belmont Orthodontics, John's Landscape Service, and Leader Bank.
Yes, and our gold sponsors, Armstrong Ambulance, Bose, Pennell and Thompson Real Estate, the Knights of Columbus Council 109, Davidson Management Company, and Rogers, Hutchins and Funeral Home.
And silver being the American Legion, Post 39, Cambridge Savings Bank, DeVito Funeral Home, Calavis Insurance Agency, and Mystic Wine Shop. And we also want to thank our corporate sponsors, including American Alarm,
The Arlington Committee on Tourism and Economic Development, First Baptist Church of Arlington, JVT Realtors, Key Funeral Home, and the Regent Theater.
Great, and a special, this parade would not have been possible without all of the sponsors and community support. Of course, we're coming to you at acmi.tv/publive or on your public channel. And Joe Caro, who is the MC of this year's parade, has made his way to the podium. I believe he's trying to see just how close the parade is. This is all about timing here, folks.
Right.
So stepping off, first off, we had NEMLEC, otherwise known as NEMLEC. It's the Northeast Association, Northeast Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council. And there were the safety motorcycles making sure that the path is clear for everyone. So we've got a lot of police presence here as well. And NEMLEC, they serve 62 cities throughout Essex and Middlesex counties, along with the support of the sheriffs. So with that many counties, how many people is that they serve? Around 1 million people.
I think he said, yeah, somewhere in that range. Yeah, that's amazing.
So I see some flag waving going on here. If we have a street shot that we can show you and see how close the parade is coming our way. Of course, we're always anticipating waiting for here, but people are already enjoying it down by Brattle Square and on the way up here.
Making its way.
Right, we're about the halfway point here.
Trying to peek through the trees here.
There we are. So if not huge crowds, but then we have a couple of miles of people to fill
Right.
the area. And of course, it is the beginning of spring break, so this is a good time. It's good that it's on Sunday. Families can go, but a lot of people do go away for that April vacation and that, when you're in that school zone period.
That's true. That's true.
Time in your life. So again, this year's theme, honoring the tradition and celebrating the future. You saw earlier in the clips some footage from, or at least photographs rather, from 1975 at the 200th, where that was big all across the country. But it was one of the larger ones
It was
here. Where were you at that point in time, Jack?
Oh, I was here. I was in town. Actually got married that year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, showing my age. But no, I remember the festivities throughout the town. It was very big and it was great.
Yeah, so and we have a little bit of the reenactment where we can show that a little bit to you as well for the battle. And they do prepare for this. I was talking to the Minutemen reenactors, and they were out there a couple weeks ago, and they were getting some tips from someone who knows a little bit more about, the proper way to be holding your musket and so forth. And they make sure that what they're wearing is correct.
Right.
Some of them, though, they did say we're wearing linen, but from now on, the national parks want them to be wearing, if you're a reenactor, to be wearing the wool, because they mostly did wear wool. Linen was only, I guess, when you're at home working stuff. But, they didn't have much time. Who knows? It was probably up to the Minutemen of that time if they were wearing their wool or their linen based on what it felt like that day.
Right.
Which I believe it was kind of a cold, wet day in 1775. All right, and Joe Caro is at the podium kicking off the parade, so
I'm Select
can
Board
listen in.
Member Joe Curo, and I'm joined by the Patriots Day Parade Committee member Joe Marshall. We're going to be trading off. Joe's been spinning the tunes for you as we've been waiting for the parade to come through. We're very happy to celebrate Patriots Day this year with a theme of honoring the tradition and celebrating our future. You can see that the escort is just about to us. Before we begin the festivities with the parade, I'd like to ask that anyone who is able, if you could please stand as you're able and remove your caps. We're going to welcome to the podium John Flood, who will kick things off with the national anthem.
Yes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, John. Thank you. Before we begin the parade, I want to just note, I think many of us know that last November, our board and our town lost a great friend, someone who had served on the Board of Selectmen for almost 3 decades, Kevin Greeley. For many years, Kevin stood at this podium to MC and to announce the participants in the parade as they came through. I would ask if you would kindly join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Now let's enjoy the parade.
So here we go in front of Town Hall, kicking off the police,
start
Arlington
off
Police
this year's
Department
parade,
pace vehicle.
Leading off as
Today's
always
parade
is the
route is
Arlington
lined with
Police,
officers from the Arlington Police Department to ensure a safe
as well as
parade for all.
motorcycles
We thank these
from
officers for their
Arlington
service to our
and the
community
Nemlec
and what they
Motorcycle
do
Unit.
every day of the week.
Today's parade
We
route is
also
lined
have
with
the
officers from the Arlington Police
motorcycle
Department
unit,
to ensure a
department
safe parade
vehicles.
for all.
You can see the bicycle
A special
officers.
welcome
They're
to
getting ready
Arlington's
for
new acting police
their
chief,
season back
Julie
on the
Flaherty.
bicycles.
Right?
And just behind them, we have the Arlington Police Department Honor Guard. The mission of Arlington Police Department
Honor
is to
Guard.
promote,
The mission of the
preserve,
Arlington Police Department is to promote,
and
preserve,
deliver quality services and to ensure the safety of all members of our community.
All members of our
This mission is a
community.
commitment to
The
quality
mission is a
performance
commitment
from
to
all
quality
members,
performance
and
from
it
all
provides
members.
the foundation upon
It
which
provides
all
the function
operational
upon
decisions
which
and
all operational decisions
directives will be
and
based.
organizational
And we just recently
directives
had a
will be
changing of the
based.
guard of sorts at the police department. Longtime Chief Frederick Ryan retiring, and now we have interim Chief Julian Flaherty.
Yes, she's actually right here, right at Town
You can't
Hall.
see her, but she's in front of us at Town Hall right
That's
now
right.
in uniform.
Keeping us safe.
Okay. Next, we have the fire department apparatus, and as well as the honor guard.
The motto of the Arlington Fire Department is the right response on time, every time. The Arlington Fire Department strives for excellence and service to the community and the residents they serve, and they do a fantastic job.
That's great. New ladder one that they've got.
They have a few
Yeah, they got some kids in
few
there
participants.
riding along.
Well, that's
And way in the
exciting.
back too. Up high. Brave.
Oh, wow. My grandson would love that. He's fire engines are his life.
Right, right. And you know, and here comes Eureka, which is the first, or at least one of the first, horse-drawn engines for serving the town in Arlington in 1851. In 1851. So horse-drawn, and it's in great shape. You can actually go see and touch it. You can see it at least through the doors at Central Headquarters, which was recently revamped, knowing that hey, they could put that in through one of the bays.
They actually have glass doors, and you can see it as you go by. It's really, really, really cool.
And they host tours. My daughter's been there for Girl Scouts, so the
Sure.
kids can come and learn about them. We also have Cambridge Ladder here today. Cambridge, a surrounding community that we will provide mutual aid along with Somerville when we need it, as we do them as well.
And firefighters today on the parade route will be soliciting funds for the March Against Muscular Dystrophy.
That's right.
With the Fill the Boot campaign.
So please,
So
if you're
we'll see
along the
them.
parade, fill it up. I can see them from here, so people are filling the boot. And we also have Somerville Auxiliary Fire
Right.
and Rescue Squad.
Yeah. And comes the collections with
The
the boots.
firefighters with the boots.
Yeah.
That's right. And Jack, I want to point something out in our camera work today, that we have also a sky eye view at some
Okay.
points, and that's from our drone.
Wow.
So
yeah.
it's being operated, if I don't have that information in front of me, but if someone wants to feed it into my ear, I can say who's operating the drone today. And also we want to thank all of the other volunteers. We've got some young people out on the camera view street, camera view.
Right.
You know, ACMi, Arlington Community Media, we're staff, but we also rely on volunteers. So if you want to learn how to operate a camera and, you know, be a part of Patriots Day Parade that way, or any other event, things that we have going on, we invite you down to 85 Park Ave.
Right. Yeah. A lot of great volunteers, and the staff obviously is second to none. They do a great job there. We're actually looking at a camera that looks like a drone. So it's you know, the equipment they have. And
Hey, there's our drone footage
Yep.
right now. Look at that,
Oh,
huh?
wow. Yep.
Isn't that great? It's fantastic. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you really get the big picture that way. You know, I was looking recently, I've been doing kind of a little bit of a history dive, and there are aerial views because of the water tower at Park Circle. That's how they would
Right.
get the
Sure.
the aerial views of Arlington over the years. So it's neat to see. And now we have another way that no one would have ever thought of, probably. And coming up, looks like we have the sheriffs. Middlesex Sheriff Peter
Middlesex
Contusion.
Sheriff Peter Contusion, who comes to Arlington quite often. He's here today with the Sheriff's Office Honor Guard in a support vehicle after spending more than a decade on Beacon Hill, representing the 10th Middlesex District. Peter has been the Middlesex Sheriff for a little over 10 years, and he's done a great job.
Right. And about the Middlesex Sheriff's Office, it was established in 1692. So it's one of the oldest law enforcement agencies here in the United States. And there are 800 men and women who perform the daily activities at the Sheriff's Office. I see the honor guard right there. These hardworking officers are responsible for the well-being of approximately 1,400 individuals housed within department facilities.
You have a little bit of a gap here.
Yeah, that
As
happens
the
time to
sheriff
time, you know,
is
as
traveling by.
is trying to line up the vehicles and the participants in the Patriots Day Parade. But I can tell you a little bit. So we have a lot of the officials somewhat in the beginning, but then we have the parades, we have the community groups from Girl Scouts, youth baseball. So they are all participating. We've
Right.
got Green Team. And we try to make this, you know, not only for something for people to watch, but also the parade. They make it so that people can participate. Any, you know, group can ask to participate.
And there are many. There are many.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great.
And we have the Aleppo Shriners, and they're at the end of the parade, but they're a nice, you know, ending, a big ending to the parade where they have all of their units. The Shriners, of course, that help fund the Shriners burn hospital,
Right.
and they come with their own brigade.
You name it, they have it. It's
They even
pretty
have their
exciting.
own Minutemen and everything. So that'll be at the tail end this year.
Most of those vehicles I'd love to get on myself.
I know.
It's like-
They have a grand old time
No,
there.
it looks like it's a great cause, and it looks like they have a lot of fun in volunteering their time.
That's right. So coming up shortly, though, we will have the Grand Marshal. I believe he's in the convertible that we're just getting a glimpse of, I would suspect. Not a bad day for convertible in April.
Right, right.
And you can hear Joe Marshall talking about the volunteer auxiliary, which is helps out in Arlington
Emergency air.
when there's emergencies or other urgent matter, and make sure that everyone has the supplies that they need who are the responders, first
Right,
responders.
they are. It's a volunteer group, and they're at every town event we have, and it's a big help to both the fire and police department, and they do a great job.
You know, they're auxiliary, but they're essential.
They really are.
Our diamond sponsor is Monkey Spoon Sheep Incorporated.
And earlier we told you about all the sponsors, and there's a banner with all of the sponsors on there, which really this parade would not be possible to get all of these bands and even some of the marchers. It costs money,
Right.
especially the Shriners, because they're raising part of the funds too.
Right.
And here we go in the convertible.
The car looks familiar.
So that's Grand Marshal Elias Katsos. He's joined by his wife Constantina and son-in-law and granddaughter Lexi. Elias is being escorted by Arlington Veterans Agent Jeff Chunglo, excuse me.
Yep.
So Katsos, you want to tell us a little bit about Katsos? I can also
Katsos joined the
fill
Army
in.
in July of 1943 and was attached to Battery C. the
He's 93 years
552
old.
Field Artillery Battalion. He was deployed to a European theater for duty during World War II.
He served in Normandy. We recently did a story at ACMi News with him and his granddaughter Lexi, who wrote a story about him, and it's available for public viewing from Robbins Library.
Right.
So we thank him for his service, and glad to have him with us and be honored today.
Looks like our elected officials are making their way to front of Town Hall. Looks like Paul Schlickman, my son John, and my two grandsons who are getting a ride, it looks like. What a deal.
That's awesome. He's doing a good job out there. We also have District Attorney Marion Ryan, Senator Cindy Friedman,
Yeah.
Representative Sean Garberly. And we have
Jeff-
the committee, the school committee, we have Jeff Thielman.
Jeff Delman, yeah.
And you mentioned Paul Schlittman.
Yes. Few Photoshop.
So serving
Props, yeah.
serving our town, so we want to honor the folks who serve our town and represent our town at the state level, as well as the local level.
Pretty good deal. Yeah.
Excellent.
And now, here is our honorary Grand Marshal,
Yes.
Bob Bose.
Bob Bose is a well-known name in town with Bose Real Estate.
Bob is not only looked at as a leader within Arlington in the business, but he's also a leader within the community at large. For over 50 years, Bob has graciously donated his time, resources, and services to the town of Arlington. And you'll see Bose real estate, sponsor just about every event we have, from Town Day to Feast of the East, and you name it.
And
Of
Bob
course, Patriots
Bob
Day.
was always helpful with supporting the Patriots Day Parade, as Brian Greeley worked in Bob Bowe's office. And here is the band that we can listen to here.
Yes.
Supporting them. The Waltham American Legion Marching Band.
I think this band is in this parade just about every year I can remember.
That's right.
Every
That's right.
year.
And they've been around since 1948, serving the United States and Europe.
They never miss. And they travel all over the world. Very well-known band.
And I have my Uncle Sam pin on today. So we have the Uncle Sam Stilt Walker, presented by Golden Bow Productions, featuring Terry Moore, who traveled all the way from New York to be with us today, and is sponsored by the Arlington Committee on Tourism and Economic Development. And of course, Uncle Sam is also, we have so much history here, is the birthplace of Uncle Sam. He was a boy during the battle in 1775. And then moved to New York at some point in time and started a meat packaging company, and it was stamped U.S. and it was either stood for United States or Uncle Sam, didn't matter which. Then there was a war,
right.
There was a poster made of him, and the rest is history.
That's right. He moved to Troy, New York, and I remember driving through Troy and I saw this Uncle Sam, and I said, "What's that all about?" But he did move there, but he was born here for sure. And we have a wonderful monument.
I'd say that battle of 1775 definitely had an impression on him. So we have a nice float to see coming by too. This also made by the Arlington Community on Tourism and Economic Development, and it shows the new miniaturized version of the new historic center that is opened up along the bike path.
Yeah.
You can come in and learning about
statue,
Yep, just a great little place to come in and stop in and learn a little bit about Arlington.
Right.
Well, this is quite a colorful band here. This is the Woodland String Band.
Very nice. Very impressive.
It's sponsored by Muncie Screw Machine Products in loving memory of founder Joseph Muncie. So it's one of these year's featured bands, joining us all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was established in 1926. Very colorful. The theme they were a part of is Into the Woods, and they participate in the Mummers Parade every year in Philadelphia.
There's a little VW Common Gear.
All right, so we've got the old cars division,
Look at this.
antique and classic cars.
Wow.
I'm gonna guess that's the 55 Ford Fairlane.
Yes.
And of course, everyone knows that's a Volkswagen Bug, or not Bug, excuse me, van.
That's the old bus. Those were very popular right around my high school days.
And then we got a boat.
Yeah, it's like a big Chrysler.
We've got a lot in front of us, so calling them out unless you're
I'd say that.
a real car buff like the father, then that's it's hard to figure out sometimes.
I think that's a 57
yeah, that's
Chevy.
definitely, yep, 57 Chevy.
Yeah. And
My default is, it's a 56 Chevy.
Oh, a GTO. No, that's a 442. They're similar.
Ah,
Oh, look at this one.
that's nice. A
That's
Bel
a-
Air type thing?
I think that's the
Type-
57 Bel Air.
Yeah,
right.
that's it. 57 Bel Air convertible,
Beautiful.
owned and driven by Thomas White of Lexington. Good. All right,
Yeah.
got one in.
Here we go.
Ooh, what a nice teal blue
Good stuff.
70s. Monte Carlo type
It's a
car
beauty.
there.
Yeah. Wow. Is that like a little Triumph?
Chevy Del Rey,
MGB?
perhaps? No, it is the Monte Carlo. Owned and driven by Wayne Garanto of Burlington. 76. I had an 82 as my first car.
Yeah.
That's why I knew it was a Monte Carlo.
My first car was a VW, so I think I saw one go by.
Ah, we got a nice silver type
Oh,
Batmobile almost
That's
here.
another 57. I
Yeah,
think.
another
You can
type
tell
of.
by the big wings on
Yeah,
the back.
exactly. Del Rey, maybe?
Yep.
Is that a Del Rey?
I think it-
If so, it's owned and driven by Denise Meal of Burlington. And MGB.
Yes.
And if there's a couple MGB and an MGC.
Well,
The 68 MGC3 is driven by Mike Hendy along with James Hendy of Arlington.
it's like an old Rambler.
All right, nice to have them with us. Thank you, everyone. Sorry we didn't get to call out each and every car, but they're nice to look at, just the same. So it looks like we have a little bit of time here. We can actually see sometimes that happens. There's a little bit of a gap in the parade.
Yeah.
Wind's picking up a little bit. Clouds are covering a little bit, so it's feeling a little chilly, but still. All right, so we're gearing up for the big display of the Menotomy Minutemen, and they are the reason, along with all of the other colonists and Minutemen that came to Arlington, Menotomy in April 19, 1775 to help battle the British on their retreat to Boston. So they're coming next in the parade.
That's an exciting part of the parade. You'll have a large contingent, I'm sure. I can just see them through the trees. The Menotomy Minutemen also participate in other events during the course of the year. They typically open up town meeting.
I think that's wonderful.
That's been
I think that's
a
wonderful.
tradition, which is really neat.
It's nice to see. And the Menotomy Minutemen are looking for anyone to join them. Men, women, children can even have a role, I believe, as
Sure.
with
Oh, absolutely.
reenactors and encampments and so forth.
In fact, I think I've seen Selectman Joe Caro dressed as a Minuteman on
Yes,
occasion.
yes, he does at times. Yes.
He usually dresses up for different events.
Mm-hmm. They will stop and fire and salute Town Hall.
Behind them, we have the Leader Bank staff and contingent. Leader is one of our local home banks in Arlington. Leader is one of this year's platinum sponsors, headquartered in Arlington. They have additional branches in Cambridge, Boston, Belmont, Burlington, and Leader Bank offers personal and business banking as well as mortgage services.
And they appear to be on what are segways, which I'm sure the Minutemen would have loved to have had
Sure.
244 years ago.
Absolutely. get them a bigger truck next year. They have quite a contingent.
Right. Dressed up as Lady Liberty, Captain America, perhaps. All of our heroes and aspirations.
Oh,
Oh, I think we have one, the special Aleppo getting driven here
yes.
to join
Special delivery.
at the ceremonies. But we can hear in the back the Irish American Police Officers Pipes and Drums Band, sponsored by John's Landscaping Service.
So they were founded in 2001. Pipe and Drums also operate as a non-for-profit organization.
Love it. Pipe and drum, one of my favorites.
Yes.
So the Acton Minutemen coming up, as we saw, as we talked about earlier, that they also helped fight the retreating British
That's right.
on April 19, 1775. And they've got all ages part of their group, men and women. And they also participated in today's reenactment at the Jason Russell
Oh,
House.
they did. Right.
And if you can see those muskets with the bayonets, that is real. And that is, you know, we honor this, but if you really think about it, you know, around 20 lives lost here in Arlington that day of the colonists, those who wanted to be independent from the mother country, from England.
Yes. And now we have members of the Arlington Council on Aging Board and the Council on Aging vans that they use quite often during the course of the week,
Right.
allowing our seniors to be out and about and
Right. Yep.
getting to appointments.
Right.
and-
Our older folks are, you know, they're an integral part of our society, you know, and we want to be able to help them. And so this is a service to help those who are older to be able to stay and live in Arlington. So they provide daily rides to the senior center, errands, transportation, medical appointments. And today's drivers are Carl Proctor and Ken Cephalo. And they also provided transportation for today's parade participants.
Yes.
So very handy vehicles to have today.
Yeah, they absolutely are. If you talk to seniors, they always, the most important thing to them is transportation, getting to appointments and going to different events in
Yeah.
town, and
Yeah.
there's nothing more important.
And here we have Danvers Alarm.
The Danvers Alarm Liscoy was established in 1973. It is a group of 18th century living history reenactors that portray the Minutemen and alarm companies of Danvers and surrounding communities as they existed in the 1774, 1775 time
Yeah,
frame.
right, I know.
Wow.
And they did participate in the reenactment because they were here, in reality, in history, 244 years ago.
Yes.
And this is a nice looking contingent coming up. Oh, but first we have the Touchdown Club, which is your specialty, Jack.
Yes, yes. I happen to be a longtime member. Our annual visit from the Touchdown Club, and Pat Opedisano, who is, I believe that's his vehicle, and he's seated in the passenger seat. Pat is a longtime community member and volunteer in many ways, so thank you.
And the Touchdown Club alumni of Arlington High School and supporting current high school. So here's the nice looking contingent coming up. This is the Old Reading Battery, presented by Bill Peacock. And it was created from members of the Reading Minutemen in the early 1980s. They reformed this reenactment group, and the cannon has been fired all over New England in competitions. Also been fired several times to salute the USS Constitution.
I must say they look very sharp, those uniforms. Perfect step.
And the reason why our Minutemen are not as well uniformed is they only formed 2 weeks before Patriots Day, for the battle.
Right.
It was the community safety meeting, is what they called it.
Looks like Tom Brady is paying us a visit.
Oh, great.
In statute. Just drove by, a full life size.
And Miss Massachusetts is coming up. And Miss Massachusetts is sponsored by Belmont Orthodontics. Born and raised in Lawrence, and Miss Gabriela Tavares took the top honor out of 27 contestants at the recent Miss Massachusetts, and she's the first woman of color to win this title. In September, she competed in the Miss America pageant, and she was the 4th runner-up. She's a graduate of Emmanuel College, where she graduated with a bachelor's degree in biology. So we welcome her today.
This is the Boston Windjammers presenting the New England Band production, sponsored by Leader Bank. When Executive Director Russ Wiseman conceived of this idea, starting up at BN more than 38 years ago, he was no novice. Both he and his parents were musicians, and one of his childhood memories was going back when he was attending the Old Home Day Parade with his grandmother.
All right, and here's a fairly new participant in the parade in the last few years. Is the New England Brethren of Pirates, sponsored by gold sponsor Armstrong Ambulance. And they all have a heart of gold and want to make a difference. Motley Crue is made up of professional costumers and entertainers.
Wow.
And just imagine that being a ship, and instead it's a truck, but
Pickup ship.
Pickup ship. That works well on land.
It works. Hope the pirate doesn't fall off.
Okay, so here they come, and they saluted and looked at Town Hall. It's the King's Own Regiment, 4th Regiment of Foot, the regulars. So we thank them for participating in today's parade, because they're giving us that perspective. They were the enemy, but there were lots of people in this country who were sympathizers and loyalists, they were called. All right, looks like we've got some library cart dancing coming up. It's the Robbins Library book truck drill team.
These librarians have taken the goal at Massachusetts Librarian Association Conference for 2 years running with their synchronized choreography and book track maneuvers. They're really spinning those book things, I'll tell you.
Yeah, they really do it well.
They work well tirelessly to help you read. They even come to entertain, and that's great. Hope no one gets hurt.
All right. We have the Arlington Fire Air Supply coming up, of course, looks like with some young children of the employees.
Yeah.
So they're the pace car for the white division. We have red, white, and then blue. So also leading us. Those are some tall, we'll see them in a moment, some tall horses. They don't look as tall from your camera angle, but those are some pretty high-mounted police, the Massachusetts State Police Mounted Unit. It began in 1865, and it was used until the 1930s and then dropped off, but in 82, with the support of the Commonwealth and their politicians and citizens, a full-time mounted unit was reestablished and still exists today, so thank you for being here.
Yeah, right behind them is the New Hampshire Governor's Horse Guard, sponsored by Rogers and Hutchins Funeral Home. The New Hampshire Governor's Horse Guard is an organization that serves at the request of the Governor of New Hampshire. Originally formed in 1859 and reorganized in 1999 as a ceremonial component of the New Hampshire National Guard.
And they're standing
Beautiful
in
horses.
attention in front of Town Hall. And the reason why you haven't heard the firing of the muskets, the stopping and firing of the muskets of the Menotomy Minutemen earlier, is that we are in a quiet zone here through Town Hall. So for children and other people who are sensitive, there's quiet zones along the parade. But I did just hear muskets go off down a little bit farther along. It's always kind of just powerful feeling it evokes in sound when that goes off.
Is this the Poopa Scoopers?
Not yet, Jack, is it? Oh, wait, you're right, it is. It is the Poopa Scoopers.
wow.
We want to thank them as well. They're from the Animal Rescue League of Boston.
Very important component of this parade.
It is. Not one you wish to think about, but
Coming right behind is Arlington Animal Control Officer Diane Welch with her intern Langley Brown and her English Springer Spaniel, Smitty.
yeah, Diane's pretty new to the town, but we've already done a lot of stories with her at ACMi, Arlington Community Media, as well as her intern, Lainey. So Diane has a falcon, and she's been a falconer for 25 years. She has a red-tailed hawk named Autumn.
Wow.
And she's also training she's also training young Lainey, who's 14 years old, to also be a falconer.
Right. And she does a wonderful job as our animal control officer.
That's right.
She absolutely.
And
With-
we'll listen to the sounds of the Dirty Water Brass Band.
And now approaching the Aleppo contingent, which is very large, right?
So we have the Aleppo Shriners uniform units. Ernie Perlstein, Chief of Staff, would like to help announce the group's, oh, I don't need to say that. That's written in the script, didn't need to say that though. He's actually the one though, if you hear him right now, he's at the podium announcing all of the different groups. They have such a huge contingent. So the Shriners or Shrine Masons belong to Shrine International. Jack, you can take it from
The Shrine is
there.
an international fraternity of approximately 500,000 members, belong to the Shrine Centers throughout the United States, Canada, Mexico, and the Republic of Panama. Founded in New York City in 1872, the organization is composed of a Master of Masons. The Shrine is best known for its colorful parades, which we're enjoying here today, its distinctive red fez, and its official philanthropy in Shriners Hospitals for Children, which is often called the heart and soul of the Shrine. Amazing organization.
It is, and then here they have their own Minutemen. And that was organized in 1974, so a good year to be organizing for that. Getting ready for the bicentennial. And they have bands, the Aleppo Oriental Band, organized in 1951. One of the most popular units. So it says, according to the Shriners themselves. Because they do go to different parades all across Massachusetts. And
We have the brass band that's accompanying.
hey, I think they have some new trucks.
Oh, these are new, yeah.
Those are bright and shiny new.
Those are the vehicles I talked about earlier that I want to drive.
Right. Well, now
They're
that
on
I
my-
see that they're nice and new and you can pop right out them, that looks great. I definitely want one of those. That'd be great for my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So adding some fun for the kids here. Lots of young children I see on the parade route, including my own daughter, who's 7 now,
Wow.
sitting near here, the grandstand area in front of Town Hall. So they'll be getting excited by, I see just in the distance, and it'll be in front of the camera shortly, but the juggling clowns. So the clown unit coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're also promoting the circus that they do, which I've been to before.
Yes, that's
At
right.
the
It's going on
Wilmington.
right now, isn't it?
Yes, April 16th through the 20th.
Yeah. Yeah.
School vacation week. So we have the popular clown unit here. See what tricks they have up their sleeve.
So the clown unit, all the world loves is a clown, and Aleppo clowns are well aware of this, and they receive many requests for performances outside functions. The clowns bring joy to children and adults wherever they appear. Their bright costumes, funny faces, and fantastic balloons always bring smiles to their faces.
And that unit has been around since 1962. So all the units didn't come together at once. It's grown over the
Right.
years. So then we have the fire brigade and their old
Yes.
style carriage, kind of a little bit like Eureka.
Right, right.
And that's led by Chief Kenneth Zeller, and that was organized in 1978.
Yes.
The
One
bright
of-
red jackets are evidence that they stand out at their duty posts. So there are 5 mini fire engines.
Yes.
They're able to move, but I don't know that they have water, so. Don't know that I would be calling them up for backup for an actual fire.
But they look good.
They're entertaining. Sometimes you just need entertainment in the world, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Oh,
Then it's the Fire Brigade Cape Cod unit, which I've seen them frequently. I've gone to the Cape Cod St. Patrick's Day parade in Yarmouth, Falmouth. Yarmouth, rather, excuse me.
and the fire brigade is actually their newest uniform unit, which started in 2002.
Mm-hmm. And their motto is that we ride so kids can walk.
Yes. Oh, we got a couple of
Yeah, well, if you're on Cape
New
Cod, you
units?
need a marine boat.
yes.
Surrounded by water.
A few hook and ladders.
Excellent. And
Looks like the motorcycles are making
yeah,
their
revving
way.
up behind them, motorcycles
Yeah.
formed in 1983.
The motorcycle unit is composed of 10 2007 Harley Davidson Sportster motorcycles, which represent Aleppo Temple in its parades and ceremonies.
So they're not just, riding up and down the street. They actually kind of work in formation. It's precision motorcycle drill and competition team. So they're going to give us a little show here. It's composed of 8 expert precision riders who are members of the International Association, the Shrine Motor Corps, and the Northeast Association competition. So we saw them a little bit before Town Hall doing their tricks, and they'll do that up and down the parade route.
Yes. It is precision because it's pretty pretty
Yeah,
tricky
going
if
around
they-
in a circle there. You
they're
wouldn't want to mess
looping
that
back
up
and
in a
forth.
motorcycle.
Really, they do a great job. They obviously practice quite a bit.
Yep. And you can see just beyond, if we have a camera shot the other way or the drone again, you can see them performing and doing their circling.
Yep.
And these guys, they get to carry the banner.
Yes.
They got a little catching up to do.
I know. Maybe they'll jump in the van.
Yeah, the motorcycles ahead of them.
That was quite a group.
Yeah, and here's the, it's all about the kids, van vehicle.
Yes.
I think maybe perhaps that might be when they, no, I'm thinking of another thing that they would do with the van, but I'm sure they use the van for, transportation and
Sure.
other things. And
Yeah, I see the go-karts are coming.
right.
That's exciting.
So I think that might be considered the Stein Hospital bus. So they do some transport out of that van
Right,
for
yes.
children in need.
Well, there's little 3-wheelers coming down now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at this. Whoa.
Whoa. That looks fun.
That looks like
Spinning
fun.
out.
Wow.
I haven't seen the 3-wheelers before. Those might be
Yeah,
those might be new. Without a cage. So 3-wheelers.
Yeah.
You get to do a little bit more on a 3-wheeler. A little bit more tricky.
Wow. Great job.
Oh, these are the custom carts, otherwise known as the
Custom
go-karts.
carts.
Found
Right.
it. A little out of order than what we thought it was at, so.
Well, there's another Shriners van.
Yes, another transportation vehicle.
Oh, now we have our 10-wheelers, our mini 10-wheelers.
So this helps, we'll see the tractor trailers later, the real tractor trailers, but they need to bring all of this equipment and something. So those goes in the tractor trailers, and then the people, this is the shuttle bus for the people who participate.
Amazing. Right.
I bet some kids would love to have a mini
Oh,
Mack truck or a flatbed.
Sure.
They're called the mini haulers, and they're a 16-inch scale, a 16 feet? No, 16 feet wouldn't be right.
Wow.
But they're miniature tractor trailers, and it's the newest uniformed parade unit.
Now here's the real tractor trailer.
Right.
As you said, they're
Right.
bringing
Imagine seeing that coming
this
down your
equipment,
parade,
yeah.
and suddenly there's a bunch of clowns coming out. But they already came out; they're already all out, and now this is the truck that hauls them. They might as well
Right.
be in the parade too. Imagine that, all of those big trucks, tractor trailers that they need to haul all of the equipment.
Yeah.
And
Not to mention the people. There had to be, I don't know, 400 or 500 people
Yeah.
in the different functions of their group. Yeah. Really neat.
So they're always a big draw
Yes.
to our parade. So we thank our sponsors for having, giving us the ability to have them in our parade, in the Patriots Day Parade. So that concludes the white unit.
Yes.
We've had red, we've had white, now we're going on to blue. There is a theme here.
Yes. I thought it was over.
All right, so again, you're watching us live in front of Arlington Town Hall with the Patriots Day Parade. We're more than, we're about 2/3 through the parade. We've had the red unit, the white unit. Now we're moving on to the blue unit, which consists of a lot more organizations in town.
Oh,
So that's
sure.
the special part, that we have a real connection. You know, the earlier is the entertainment, but now we have the real connection where people and different citizens and groups, organizations can actually participate in the parade.
It's quite an effort to organize this parade. It begins probably shortly after this one ends, when they
Yes.
start to have meetings and plan, and
That's right.
quite a bit of fundraising
right.
that's done.
So
it's
we
a
have
great
Lynn and
effort.
Jen's dance studio. Lynn and Jen opened their dance studio in 1999, and they're right here in Arlington, one of several dance studios here, and they provide students with the proper technical foundation to explore their interests and dance. And they're in our parade today. I think we're going to stop and have a little dance going on, so let's take a look.
Cause I don't like bony, my little lap bra run around in the shoulders. Take your pants off, let me see you walk. She always say yeah, that I mean when she talk.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this sauce so yummy. Know you want this yummy, yummy all in your tummy. Level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this sauce so yummy. Know you want this yummy, yummy all in your tummy.
Let's hear it for the LJ crew.
All
Lynn and
right.
Jen's dance studio.
Very
So
good.
great. And some of them so young doing those moves. Nice job.
And Lynn and Jen's studio is, I believe it's on Broadway, or Warren
Yes.
Street, and started by Arlington people and run by family. It's really some very nice programs there.
Yeah, a lot of businesses in town like that where people have grown up in the town and then they come and start a business. My daughter goes to another dance studio where also from Arlington.
Right? It's great.
So we have Arlington Family Connection. It's an organization, speaking of families, that's dedicated to connect families with one another, especially when they're ages 6 and under, when you're not quite in school yet and you're looking to form relationships. So that was something that we took advantage of when my daughter was younger as well. So we got some kids and young families walking today.
Looks like we have the Arlington Lodge of Elks baseball team joining us. The Orioles. Arlington Lodge of Elks has sponsored baseball and many other sports teams for many, many years. Looks like members of the organization are joining us as well.
I love seeing the children be in the parade and just the organizations be in the parade and showing pride in what they're doing. and coming together as a community and honoring that.
Looks like we have another baseball group.
Yep.
An assortment.
AYBSA and the different teams,
Coaches and
ages, peewees on up.
baseball is about to start
Yeah.
at long last.
We're going to listen in here because we've got the Chinese lion dancers. It's the Golden Bow Productions presentation of the Nampai Academy Lion Dancers. Well, let's take a look and listen as they go by. So Chinese lion dancing is a traditional Chinese dance mimicking a lion's movement. So you saw some of them were standing there, and then the lions just went down just as they were passing Town Hall, but you could see it through your camera there. So now we have the Arlington Girl Scouts.
Right.
We're always glad to have the Arlington Girl Scouts participate in the Patriots Day Parade. There's currently 468 of them in Arlington. And there's also adult registrants. I'm one of them. My daughter is in Daisy's. She's not marching today, but there's a total of 759 Scouts in Arlington. And this year total throughout the town, they sold 29,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. And I know my daughter was close to about 100 of those.
Oh,
so.
wow. I'm always very helpful in that cause because I really do love Girl Scout cookies.
They never go out of style.
No.
So the top seller, though, was Amelia Valerino at 700 boxes.
Wow.
So let's hear it for all of the Girl Scouts. Daisy's on up.
Yes. And is that their primary fundraising function?
It is. And a good portion of the sales do go to the troops.
Right.
And a lot of troops now are, instead of utilizing the money necessarily for, outings or something, they'll give the money back to another organization
Right.
in need.
Coming up is Heat Smart. Heat Smart is a state-sponsored, community-led education campaign to increase the adoption of clean heating and cooling and technologies in Arlington and Winchester homes. Heat Smart is raising awareness about 4 energy-efficient heating and cooling technologies that can help owners save money on their utility bills.
And then we also have members of the Arlington Green Team, which they help with recycling in their school, and I've been helping out with my daughter. She's going to that as well, and in each school now, in all the elementary schools, we have that. And let's listen into the new Magnolia Jazz Band as well.
Magnolia Jazz Band is a New Orleans-style second-line strolling Dixieland jazz band.
They're from this area, and they're also led by Arlington's very own Steve Gold.
Soapbox Derby. It's the Arlington Soapbox Derby.
Being led by MyRack, towed by MyRack.
Yes.
And the soapboxes, because they're not actually in the soapboxes today.
Yep. Here comes Arlington Soapbox Derby. Let's have a huge round of applause. They're celebrating their 12th year, girls and boys from ages 7 to 20.
And that was the Tony Barry Marching Band. Tony Barry Marching Band's a real long tradition. I had the great pleasure of interviewing and meeting the very Tony Barry when he was in his 90s a few years ago here at the parade. And it's been in and around Boston since shortly after our World War II.
Right behind them is the Arlington Center for the Arts group. Very lively. Arlington Center for the Arts is a vibrant community arts center and the cornerstone of the creative community in Arlington. ACA offers opportunities for people of all ages to discover and express their own creativity and to appreciate the creativity of others.
All right, so we're partway through our blue division of the red, white, and blue. Again, remembering the past, honoring and looking ahead to the future. Right now, I'm enjoying the present.
Yes, we are.
It's been a
Although
great...
it's cooled off a bit
It's
since
cooled
we
off.
started.
We're a little chilly, but we're also not moving around. We're kind of stuck in these
Right,
chairs
right.
here, unfortunately.
And it's not raining. So this is great.
So next coming up, we have the Roma Band Musicians, sponsored by Belmont Orthodontics. And they've been in this parade for several years, and they continue a long-standing tradition of Italian patriotic music, and they're formed in the North End in 1915, so over 100 years old. Let's take a listen.
Very nice. Approaching us is the organization Food Link. Food Link is an Arlington-based food rescue organization that uses the power of its 200 volunteers to collect fresh foods from retailers and distribute it to local agencies serving those in need. It's an amazing idea. You're basically taking food from a place like, Whole Foods and Panera Bread and
That they can't sell,
That they
but
would-
it's still good.
otherwise throw away, and they rescue it, as they say. And as the housing director in Winchester, I recently had the opportunity to link with Food Link this past week for our elderly citizens, and it's been so far just an amazing process to watch how it works and organize with them. And we very much appreciate it. It's quite an amazing idea.
Yeah, they've definitely grown over the years, and they have a new location where Napa Auto Parts was on Summer Street.
That's right. So at this point in time, as they say, they're serving those in need in Arlington. They're starting to expand, as I said, in Winchester and other towns to utilize this great idea for those in need.
All right, so right now we have the Ancient Order of Hibernian Pipes and Drums. The Ancient Order is recently celebrated 20 years together, and they've performed numerous times at the Arlington Patriots Day Parade, as well as all over the Northeast, including and also Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Ireland, and Scotland. Let's take a listen.
Quite a few colorful bands today.
That's right. That's right. So beautiful day. You're seeing a nice shot of Boston right there in the distance. So by this point in time, the British were retreating back to Boston, and you can see it from here how it's grown in those 244 years since. And we're still standing.
Yes.
And we're independent. We're America. So thank you so much for tuning in to ACMi TV, Arlington Community Media, and enjoying us on the Patriots Day Parade. And
We have a visitor.
excuse me, Violet, you have to go over there. That was my daughter. She didn't know because there's a robotic camera here. There's no one standing in front of it, so it's a little different. You didn't realize that we're still on. But we are, and we're concluding our Patriots Day Parade coverage. We thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, it's been my pleasure again to be with you, Brenda, and put on this excellent event here.
And the DPW trucks, and signing off from another Patriots Day Parade 2019. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brenda Mahoney.
And I'm Jack Hurd. Thank you.
Thanks.